الحضور الكريم، المشروعات العملاقة تجسد تحول اقتصاد السعودية واستراتيجيتها الصناعية، وتستلزم كميات هائلة من الصلب، ما يعزز الطلب المحلي والإقليمي ويخلق فرصاً للاعبين العالميين. أما الآن فإلى جلسة نقاش بعنوان نظرة مستقبلية لاستهلاك الصلب في المشروعات الضخمة. يدير جلسة النقاش السيد تيرينيس بوسوتيل، المدير لبرنامج كونستراكت ستيل في رابطة الصلب العالمية وورلد ستيل. Mr. Tyrannis Bosotil, the stage is yours.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to this infrastructure panel. My name is Terence Bosotil. I'm the director of Construct Steel at the World Steel Association. So I think this is a very, very important topic. This massive growth in construction that we see actually all across the world, but in particular in KSA. Of course, such growth in construction and projects creates a lot of opportunities, but also a lot of challenges. And this is what we will try to discuss today with our friends, the panelists. So I will proceed to introduce them in one by one. Then I will give a very, very small presentation about what I do in Construct Steel, in promotion of steel and construction. And then we will start having a bit of a debate on all of these issues governing the KSA construction market. So, without further ado, I would like to kindly invite my good friend, Mr. Abdul Rahman Al Gaban, President of Saudi Arabia Bechtel Company and Regional Manager for Bechtel in the Middle East region. Good luck. Prior to joining Bechtel, Mr. Al Rahman worked for several government agencies, including the King Abdullah City for Atomic and Renewable Energy, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and the Saudi Arabian General Investment Authority. Abdul Rahman is a registered professional engineer. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals. Completed the Emerging Leaders Program from London Business School. He is also the chairman of Saudi Arabia's Building Smart chapter. Welcome, Mr. Al Rahman. Our second speaker, Mr. Nawaf Al Zamil, president of Zamil Steel Holding, has been heading the company since 2010. He began his journey with Zamil Steel in 1996 and over the years has taken on numerous roles of responsibility within the organization. He has been instrumental in steering Zamil Steel Holding towards consistent growth and expanding its global footprint. Under his leadership, the company supplies more than 500,000 metric tons of steel annually to markets ranging from Fiji in the east to Mexico in the west, with manufacturing facilities located in Vietnam, India, KSA, and Egypt. Mr. Al Zamil has firmly established Zamil Steel as a global enterprise originating from the KSA. Our third speaker, Hamid Tabet, is head of commercial at the Raya Company, leading contracts, procurement, and commercial operations for one of Saudi Arabia's most iconic Vision 2030 giga projects. With over 20 years experience in the real estate development and contract management across the Middle East, Africa, and Europe, he oversees a $60 billion multi-master plan portfolio spanning luxury, hospital, residential, retail, and cultural assets. An expert in construction law and arbitration, he holds an LLM from the UK and memberships in risk and CARB. Welcome. Finally, our friend Hamid Al Sabah is a mechanical engineer with over 3 decades experience. He has been actively involved in the major industrial and steel projects since 1990. As the founder and CEO of MCAN, headquartered in Dubai and Ulm, Germany, he leads industrial ventures across the MENA region in partnership with leading European suppliers, bridging engineering, industrial development, and global collaboration. Welcome to all of you, panelists. Construct Steel is a division within the World Steel Association whose job it is to promote the use of steel in construction. Okay, so we have steel producing members who are members of World Steel. Members of World Steel who want to focus on promotion of construction pay extra for what we call an opt-in program. And as you can see, this is, I think, a key slide. We sell and consume and produce in construction half of everything that we produce globally. But if you look at the chart to the right, our market share in steel is really very low, about 25% globally. Of course, in countries such as the UK, US, Japan, it's a different story. But if you look at India, if you look at KSA and MENA, if you look at South America and Southeast Asia, it is predominantly a concrete market. So my job is, together with my board, is to try and find activities through which we increase the market share of steel in construction. And to tell you something else, given the trade barriers and the walls that are coming up all across the world, traditional exporters of steel that we have will really, really have to rethink their model, because I think there's going to be more and more pressure now for traditional exporters to focus on their domestic market. And construction is one way through which we can do it, because the market share is very low. My friends, this is something which is coming for the foreseeable future. Okay. These are some of our members that we have. They are global. I don't only have steel producers, I also have manufacturers, fabricators, bridge builders. I have the world's largest steel fabricator, the Chinese corporation. They are in it. I have a bridge builder in Australia. I have Saint-Gobain, which is a very, very big glass producer. So we work together to promote initiatives. So just to summarize, our activities are based by ecosystem growth. So we do activities which grow the ecosystem for steel construction. And we also work on technical projects by market segment. So one of the things which I think is very important, and the reason that members join Construct Steel, is for us to open the doors for them. Inkwik is a small, medium-sized bridge builder based in Australia. They joined me with the request that I open doors for them with our steel-producing members, which are $50 to $60 billion enterprises. So with our friends there, as you can see in the pictures, with Tata Steel, they wanted to work with Tata Steel, for Tata Steel to accelerate the adoption of steel bridges in India. Okay, we do not have time in India to develop our own steel bridge solutions. So we bring them from where they are established already. And this is one such example through which Construct Steel gives value to its members. We accelerate the process of steel adoption. Something else which I am doing now on the request of the Turkish government. As you know, we had this very, very unfortunate scenario in 2023 of this big earthquake between Syria and Turkey, where 50,000 souls were lost, unfortunately. The government now has approached me to try and help them retrofit buildings which are very susceptible to earthquake and seismic. So they have approached us as a consortium to try and help them retrofit these building solutions. They have gotten a lot of money from the World Bank. They lack the expertise, the professionals, and the steel solutions to retrofit these types of buildings. So this is an opportunity for us to go in as a consortium and transform a market which has traditionally been a concrete market into a steel market. So it's a very, very big piece of work which is coming. And I was in Washington to speak to my CEOs only last week, and there was unanimous approval that we should go ahead and do this. So these are very, very practical projects that we are doing here in Construct Steel. We do not simply write reports, but we do real business case studies through which we can help our members do more tonnages. Okay? We also do a lot of communications work to promote steel as an industry and as a product. A lot of technical reports, the benefits of using steel in bridges, the benefit of working with steel and timber, the benefit of working with concrete. We do a lot of technical reports, but we turn those technical reports into animation videos for the young generation, and we put them on YouTube. And as you can see, the views are very, very good for this type of activity. So this is another example through which we build an ecosystem for steel construction, which does not exist. We also have started recently, as you know, disasters, natural disasters have increased in frequency, unfortunately, due to climate change. What we try to do is we try to promote, so let's say, for example, there is a flood. In my country, currently, there is a big flood in Europe. What we do is we make an announcement on our social media channels, and we link my members' products and solutions, and we say, look, we have these sheet pile solutions which can help you with the flooding. We have these seismic solutions which can help you in seismic activity. And we try to generate activity and business towards our members. We also started very, very strongly on promotion in very, very big events. I was in Toronto a couple of weeks ago where we set up a stand, a dedicated Construct Steel stand at the Council of Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat, which is the authority when it comes to tall buildings. They bring together all the big guys when it comes to EPCs, architects, designers, so on and so forth. So again, we go as a consortium, and our job is to promote our members' solutions. As you can see here, we have 3D models from some of our members. We prepared them for them, and members come, they take their phone, they click, they saw what the solution is, they made inquiries, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is not one individual member, not Arcelor or Tata or Nippon is doing this. We are doing this collectively as a consortium. Okay. One last example of creating business opportunities. As you know, the issue of urbanization and population is very important. We see increases going into the future in both urbanization and population. And on the chart on the left, we see the big pressure to decarbonize buildings. So we have taken these two megatrends. We engaged a very, very big design agency called Gensler to see how we can promote steel solutions in terms of a prototype building. Demountable, reusable, recyclable, remanufactured, the 4 R's of circularity, which we push inside the prototype building. We are currently now working with Tata Steel India, where they are building this prototype model for them to be able to showcase this model incorporating the benefits of steel. Okay, as I said, the ability to be reused, demountable, changed, and so on and so forth, to reduce the amount of embodied and operational carbon. So this is another practical example through which we help our members position themselves in the market and do business. So colleagues, without further ado, this is a little bit of an overview of what we do. So now what we can do is start a little bit on the panel. And begin with our good friend, Mr. Tabet from Diraya. And I'll ask you the first question, Mr. Tabet. What distinguishes Diraya as a special project among projects in KSA?
Assalamu alaikum. It's a privilege to be here. For a change, we have a buyer. I mean, since morning, we're having a lot of manufacturers, suppliers, and I think it's important to have this aspect of what is the demand is like, what are the challenges which we face as buyers of steel. So Diraya, for those who don't know, is the first capital of Saudi. It was built 300 years ago. We have a project which is a PIF project, one of the PIF projects of Vision 2030. It's a 14 square kilometer master plan where people, they can live, shop, play, and stay. What distinguishes us as a project is we are maintaining the heritage of the Najdi architecture. So we're building a city that celebrates the first capital of Saudi, but at the same time, it has to stand the test of time. So it has to be sustainable, it has to be durable, and for us, the relevancy of steel and is very important, because that's what, it's not only for us a commodity, it's an enabler that enable us to fulfill the vision of the project.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Colleagues, I would like to jump into this whole ecosystem of steel construction, because I think what we've seen in your country, in KSA, is this big growth in projects, big growth in demand. Now, from my little bit of experience in the West, when we look at the United States, when we look at UK, when we look at Japan, for steel to be competitive, it's very, very important that there is an ecosystem. What do I mean by this ecosystem? I mean that there has to be established fabricators, there has to be established erectors, there has to be established installers, a whole education system that focuses on the whole structural design community. So it's a very, very complicated process. So I think to compete, for steel to compete, I think it's essential. So for this reason, I want to ask my friend, Mr. Al-Gaban, the construction industry is a fragmented business everywhere, with silos prevalent. What role can both governments and the private sector play to facilitate collaboration or partnership in our construction industry?
Thank you very much for having me. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, as-salatu was-salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen. It's an excellent question. Historically, the engineering construction sector being fragmented. So it's rarely to find a dialogue between the owners, the designer, the construction company, the steel provider, and this is not sustainable for the future. For many reasons. I think in the last few years we have experienced some supply chain shocks in Europe due to the Ukraine war and the Red Sea crisis that happened not long time ago. For the resilience of the industry and the supply chain and the security of supply chain, this model is not sustainable.
Correct.
So the role that the government or the private sector or the supplier can play here is more dialogue, more integration, and government could play a major role in pushing for digital integration mandates. So meaning the designer should engage with the developer, should engage with the contractor very early on.
Correct.
So this will help prevent any surprises in the future and making sure the suppliers are aware of what's coming, and for the contractor to deliver on time and in a very efficient and effective way. In our case, for example, 30, 40 years ago, we invested in a steel facility in Turkey called Çimtas, and this helped us to overcome some of the sudden growth in LNG plants, for example, in 2010, between 2010 and 15. And here in the Gulf, we recently made another JV with a steel manufacturer in Ras Al Khaimah, Unger Steel. That's also helped us to secure some of the supply that we used to take from Ukraine and elsewhere. So the sector needs more dialogue, more integration, and more transparency.
Correct. I agree 100%. Mr. Nawaf, the question is very, very similar to you, for you, my friend, but from a fabricator perspective. What is being done to develop a steel construction ecosystem in the UK, in KSA?
Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I would talk from the fabricator point of view. As he was just saying about the dialogue, knowing at early stage, it gives us an advantage sometimes to prepare ourselves for what's coming next, either from production capabilities or a know-how bringing in. And if I would recall, I think the first one we worked on was a few years back, the Riyadh Metro. And Riyadh Metro, while we're talking early, we had a joint venture with a French company which has the engineering part. And that's part of what made it smooth. And so an early talking to this makes the fabricator much more prepared for what's coming next. Because as you know, that the complexity of projects is not anymore as what it used to be. So I think that's one of the main reasons to have. Yeah.
Very important, Mr. Nawaf. I think of something else. I have, as I said, a very big steel fabricator. They do a million tons a year. They ask me on many occasions for these kind of partnerships. Can you help us with other steel fabricators to talk to them? Do you think this is important for KSA, that we also bring in some experience here? You talk to a UK fabricator or you talk to a Chinese fabricator to share experience. Do you think this is also important?
Definitely, it is very important.
Very important.
First of all, I would not say just to share, but for me, it's more of a bringing a know-how.
Yes.
And a transfer of something that I could, have locally for the future. And that's what the whole idea about, having joint ventures or understanding technologies. And that's today exactly what we're doing, to understand who are the experts in a certain field that could give me the expertise in the future.
Correct.
And build the know-how for me.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later because I have an idea after the panel. Hamad Al-Sabah, my friend, it's the same kind of question to you, but in a different format. What challenges in the development of steel products do we see in KSA and other Middle Eastern markets?
Assalamu alaikum. Actually, it's a very tough market now. So it's 1.9 billion ton of steel over the world now. So The strategic now, the directions, we have to think smarter, think faster, and we focus for high-end products and also capacities to avoid some commodities like rebar and also flat products. We focus on the infrastructure still needed, like kingdom of opportunities actually, Saudi Arabia. It's a lot of actually opportunity in the infrastructure projects, railways, monorails, and many for the port as well. Even in Egypt, the same. So I think the direction now to filling the gaps for the steel capacities to avoid repeating the same production like steel rebars, flat products. So there is a very high-end product now. Most of the steel makers will focus on Saudi Arabia, Algeria, Egypt, the main region now, so to avoid actually repeating the same capacities with the same commodities actually.
Very good, very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Mr. Tabet, back to you. What are the current trends in the market from a supply chain perspective and the Saudi Vision 2030 is implemented?
Well, the panel that was just before us, I think there was a very good view of the increasing demand on the steel. Whether the supply is catching up, there's a lag. I think the lag is closing down. How fast it will be, it's still a question for us. But also in the previous panels, there's a gentleman from McKinsey who mentioned or talked about uncertainty and volatility. And I think this is the whole issue which we'll have to cooperate to deal with it. For us, it's about the uncertainty of whether the supply is going to meet our demand, and for the manufacturer is whether the demand is going to be sustainable. And both of us will have to deal with the volatility. I mean, it was a difficult 3-4 years for everyone, coming from the COVID to the supply chain bottlenecks to the geopolitical tensions, the volatile energy prices. All of this is putting a pressure on the manufacturer and the buyers as well. But I think the key is how we can find the balance of fair mechanism of giving some sort of certainty to both sides, so we can navigate our way forward. And I think this is what we have been discussing with the supply chain. In Diriyah, we have a more dynamic procurement approach. We don't deal with main contractors only. We go to the SMEs, manufacturers, suppliers, and we understand that sharing risk is important for us to be able to move forward.
Very good. I agree. Let's talk a little bit about fabrication now, steel fabrication. Mr. Zamil, I'll start with you. How has the steel fabrication industry changed over the last 20 years in KSA? What are the opportunities and challenges for steel construction in KSA?
Well, it has changed dramatically, and I think probably in the past 10 years we have looked at totally different kind of steel products coming in because of the projects happening. Today when you talk about a Diriyah or Giddiya, these are not the same engineering complex structures, very precise like production. That's one of the things we start moving to, you know, the automation, robotics, yes. So being very precise. So I think it has changed a lot, and the capabilities I think within the steel fabricators has changed from a know-how point of view, from a people perspective, to reach that level. So I think, I don't want to seem old, I've been in steel for the past 30 years, but the past 10 years, it has nothing to do with the whole history that I've seen. So it's a great jump and opportunity, I think.
We see the same everywhere. Mr. Al-Gaban, maybe not on steel fabrication per se, but in general in construction. How do you see AI being used to increase productivity in EPC? Now, as you know, productivity in manufacturing has exploded for the last 50 years. When we look at the same productivity, that is output per person in construction, it hasn't changed. Actually went down. So how do you think this, a lot of talked about AI can contribute to this, if it can?
I think you cannot go anywhere without hearing the word AI. And AI introduction in the EPC sector is equivalent to the internet invention. And the key word is AI will play a major role in improving productivity. As a contractor, as an EPC, we hate reworks. We hate wasting time on tedious jobs that can be automated. On the engineering side, I think AI will play a major role in deducting clashes, come up with actually alternative designs, sequencing construction. So there are a lot of potential coming on the design side. On the procurement side, a lot of scenario planning in terms of understanding the supply chain and understanding shop capacity, commodity pricing, and eventually we'll start drafting contracts and issuing POs on behalf of the construction company. On the field, that's a whole different story. You know, improving safety, improving productivity that's been declining since World War II. So there's a lot of potential on robotics and automation, and all of that will play a role in reducing carbon footprint of a construction site, because the AI will give you, the consumption of electricity, sequencing the trucks getting into the site, the load, the volume. So all will be hopefully automated. So people will be more informed about what to do and when to do and how to do it.
Correct. We're in for a revolution in this whole AI business in construction. I think we really need it. But if you look at it also from an employment side, there are not many people. The populations in Germany, Japan, Korea, as I said before, are starting to go down. Yeah. Nobody wants to work in construction, the young generation, because they see this as a dirty business, unfortunately. I was speaking to one of my Indian CEOs, Sajan Jindal of JSW, and he was telling me that even in India, they cannot find young guys to work in construction, which is very, very unfortunate. So I hope some of these issues, particularly robotics on the ground, as you can see, many of, if we build houses, they can also be standardized. And this is, I think, where AI can work very well. Very good. Mr. Al-Sabah, I will take just a small diversion to ask you this question. What gaps in the market for steel do we see in KSA and other Middle Eastern markets?
Actually, the main gap in Saudi Arabia is DRI called to produce, called the DRI and HBI. Actually, to avoid the fluctuation of the scrap availability in domestic market and the prices worldwide, especially for the scrap handling, it's a very sophisticated process in the Jeddah port and Dammam port. So I think it's one of the most important, but ticket size, it's $1 billion to produce 5 million ton of HBI. But we have to secure the natural gas first. The 5 million ton, it will be secured, the fluctuation, the scrap lack of the scrap in the domestic market, and even the port handling, to avoid millions of tons scrap handling. It's a very sophisticated process actually. Sometimes it's like a time lead about 20 days to release the shipment. So, but we have to secure the natural gas first. So it's very important actually to Saudi Arabia.
Very good. Colleagues, last question, and we still have some time. Now you see what my job is. I explained a little bit what we do as a global steel industry. So the question for all of you, one by one, please, is what can a global consortium, such as Construct Steel, or in another way, how can the global steel producing fraternity help you in what it is that you do, in your different businesses that you are in? How can the steel industry wants to be more and more engaged? We are very, very far from the construction industry. We're only a small part of it. So what can we do to help you guys out, be closer to you, help you succeed?
Okay.
Go ahead.
As you like. So actually, when I start my side, actually, we have approach from European investors, actually, 7 companies, 5 to invest in Saudi Arabia, 2 to invest in Egypt for infrastructure projects and to secure some steel product, actually, like spiral welding mills, also for seamless pipe mills in Egypt, and 1 tubing for the seamless. So I think now the most of European investors looking for local partner in Saudi market now. We are securing with them some of them. So to make like consortium, as you told now that about the production of, to filling the gaps, face some lack of production in Saudi Arabia. It's a very high opportunity actually now in Saudi Arabia and infrastructure projects actually.
I understand. Thank you. Very important. Abdul.
Sure.
Abdul.
From our side, I think share and overshare of information, knowledge, share lesson learned from different companies, projects, countries, not to be limited to geography. And I think pushing the limits on standardization and specification from different sectors, pushing the limit on digital integration, and also there's one element which is pushing for innovation. Engage with academia, engage with. It's rarely to find a startup in the construction sector, but there's a lot of, construction technology company are coming up. I think building the bridge between all the stakeholders here, all the relevant parties here, will be very valuable for all of us. More dialogue, oversharing of information and knowledge.
Correct.
Okay, if I understand the question, you said from your side, what the steel community could do. For me, to be honest, first thing is education.
Education.
I don't think, I've seen it so long, a lot of people don't understand what steel is, especially when it comes to the designing or doing, unless it's somewhere out. I think here it started when they looked at what speed is needed and flexibility. I think that's where steel started coming in. I mean, the artistic side of it, let's say with the stadiums that we have. But I think the education part of how much steel could do, and I know steel doesn't always is the best solution, but I'm sure there is a lot that we could do that steel could do it. Especially now, that one thing I forgot to say, the country's vision of looking into steel as steel mills of raw materials being around us. I know what the difference, because in Egypt, I work with Ez next to me. In hot rolled, I work with Solb. So it's a matter of 1 hour here, 1 hour there. But when most of my business comes from outside, that also affects the speed. Again, steel is about speed, and that's what I always tell people, the difference. So I think education from different societies and believing in that could make a big difference of that material.
Mr. Nawaf, what you say I think is very important. I think our director for Steel University is somewhere here. We are pushing very, very strongly. And I tell you, we are doing this in a very easy way. So let's say in the UK, in the late 70s, where they started to really push for steel construction to be adopted, we are taking all of that knowledge that has been built over 40 years through my association member, British Construction Steel Association. And we are making this available on a platform for everybody. And it's not only for those members of World Steel, but it's for all of the market chain. For you, it's all available. So I will actually find a way now. I will talk to the director to share this information with you so you have it.
Can I give you small information? Probably you'll be surprised. In Vietnam, our engineering manual of pre-engineered buildings is actually being taught in the University of Vietnam. You see. That's already been there for the past 7 years. So that's some sort of a work that we do together. So getting engineers to understand steel, I think it's important with universities.
Very important.
I think for me it's we need to have more sustainable products, green products, lesser carbon footprint. And I think the steel industry need to invest more into R&D, and we need to come up with better products without us having to pay extra to get it. So I think it's a shared responsibility of us as developer and the manufacturers is to build more efficiently and also without having a lasting impact on our environment.
Thank you, Mohammed. Very, very valid point. I think we are nearly done here. I see there is a question here. Do we take this question or?
May I answer this one?
I can answer it, but you won't
I
like
think
my...
all of us are willing to answer this question.
Okay.
I think from our
okay.
side, we can pay the green premium if the owner is willing to pay the premium. We can do green, blue, pink, whatever color we can do.
We can already supply the market, but of course there is, unfortunately the market is currently not willing to pay, and there are many factors around that. But we are working very hard, and we do have mills who can supply at very, very low CO2 per ton, very low CO2 per ton. But the market is unfortunately still hesitant. So what do we have to do? We have to at least get the governments to start setting the example in their procurement, to say, look, this bridge has to be with certain CO2 per, and this is how we start to bring in this ecosystem. And then the prices will start to come down on their own accord when the demand starts to increase. Huh? Yeah. So this is a little bit our position.
Okay.
Any more comments, Mr. Nawaf, on this?
For me, I'm willing to pay, but I'm realistic. I'm willing to pay as long as the competition product that's coming against steel is not more competitive. Then there is no point of doing it.
Correct. It's very complicated, colleagues. The steel industry, I can tell you, is changing. The technology is there, but it's not only about the technology. DRI grade pellets are not enough to match the demand. Yeah. The demand in India for steel is growing very, very strongly, so we will not be able to retire the blast furnaces. It's very, very complicated. There's not enough scrap in the market to produce all of the steel that is needed. So there are all of these factors. So it's not a question of the steel industry. The steel industry is doing its part. We are investing, but we also depend on the governments to provide renewable energy. We depend on the iron ore miners to provide DR-grade pellets, and so on and so forth. So it's an ecosystem kind of development thing, which will take a lot of time. Huh? Okay. Okay. So thank you very much, colleagues. I think we are at the end.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The third Saudi Iron and Steel Conference is being held in Riyadh now. It's being held at an opportune time when the kingdom has embarked on mega projects. It's very happy to see all the key stakeholders at one platform. We as Zamil Steel are happy to be partnering in this platform, and we are looking forward to meet and partner with people who could help us deliver these mega projects.
This conference has been a remarkable platform that brought together industry leaders, investors, and policymakers, reaffirming the Kingdom's growing role in developing this vital sector. One of the most important topics discussed in the conference was the resilience in supply chain. As an industry, we still depend heavily on importing essential raw materials like profiles, plates, sheets, and coils. And this reliance makes us vulnerable to global price fluctuations, shipping delays, and geopolitical uncertainties. So we really commend the efforts of the Ministry of Industry to encourage the investments in steel mills and to strengthen the local integration to build a stronger and more competitive national steel ecosystem. We at Zamil Steel are proud to be among the pioneers who are participating actively in this transformation journey. And over nearly 50 years, we have contributed to the continuous development and the growth of the kingdom through our participation in the national vital projects. We continue to invest in advanced manufacturing technologies, in innovation, and in the development of the Saudi talents.